Adventurers, welcome to the last draft. They call me Barkeep, and welcome to another edition of World Building Wednesdays, where we world build on Wednesdays. I do that joke every single week, and it's always hilarious. How's the... Turn this a little bit, get a little more brightness on me? No, I think it's fine the other way. So today, we will be, for our world building, we will be creating an NPC. This is an NPC that's very important to this world, and is the way that a lot of adventurers will... Basically the first person that they will meet when they become adventurers. And his name is... Dun 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 Dakari Mudenda. So he's somebody that I've mentioned before in I think a couple of different videos for the last draft. Let me get a little sip of my coffee. I think he was mentioned in the one I forget what the title of the video was, but it's where the something about something sending. It's where the adventurers didn't inform anybody after having engaged in a battle with a prominent business owner in the empire, and so adventurers were being accused of just like murdering a random guy in the empire, and they hadn't informed anybody at the guild what had transpired, and so Dakari was really pissed off, and it was like the whole joke was that the barkeep got a sending, was like, hey, those adventurers over there with you? And he's like, yep. He's like, send them over here because Dakari is pissed. And I think probably was also the other one was there was a druid asking how to become an adventurer, and the barkeep informed her, go to the Adventurers Guild in the center of town, speak to his secretary, whose name is Mara Sinclair, and she will get you in contact with Dakari Mudenda, who is the guild rep, who will set you on the right path to becoming an adventurer. So that's who we're talking about today. I actually spelled this totally wrong. He is an Echo Knight fighter, but not like knight as in he doesn't fight the knight. He is a knight, like, with like armor and shit. I would say around like level 15 or so, for when your players first start adventuring. So, Dakari Mudenda is a representative of the Adventurers Guild. Under his guidance, countless heroic parties of the past decade have sprung up, such as Dirty Business, the Bridge Trolls, and the Copper Brastards. And like I said, Dakari is a high-level adventurer, probably somewhere around level 15 or so. But who knows? Maybe as your players get more powerful, so do your NPCs. So, maybe in the future, he eventually becomes a level 20 adventurer or whatever. Maybe he becomes, like, instead of just being the guild representative, he becomes the head of the Adventurers Guild. I did a little one-shot for my cousin, who who actually did the first ever one-shot based in Respite's world, where they flash forward many years and Dakari was the head of the Adventurers Guild. So the stuff I like to think about when I'm creating an NPC is thinking about them in the present tense of whenever the campaign is starting, but thinking about what their goals are, or maybe not even necessarily what their goals are, but what things that can happen to them in the future. So that's something that you can kind of put seeds of in what you're currently writing. So it's always about planting little seeds that can grow into something interesting for your players to stumble across. So, Dakari is a veteran and has ventured in all 6 of the major passes and countless unknown valleys and peaks. Sorry. But eventually his adventure spirit ebbed and he decided to nurture the next generation of heroes. That's when he began to work for the guild in a more managerial way. He is a mild-mannered man, mostly serious, but with a subtle sense of humor that would often fill the room with his warm chuckle. He was at one point a dour and very intense man, but now exudes a calming aura that makes people want to trust him. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. It's starting to become that season, the allergy season, and I'm just like, woo! Look into the light. Is that working? Oh, I got that little nose tingle. I wanted to overview. So I like to make these little overviews of characters where, if you never know what your players are going to do. So, if you have someone who's even mildly important, writing up a tiny little document with like 3 or 4 things with like a paragraph or 2 each will really help you in the future when, it's been a year and a half, right? And they've come back to a town that they haven't been at since they were level 6 or something. And you're like, wait, what was up with this, random farmer that they encountered? You can go in, you can pull out your little overview, and you'd be like, oh, right. His daughter wants to become, the mayor, but he's against politics and whatever weird thing that you came up with. You can look and see, oh, this is what he looked like, this is what his goals were, this is what his occupation is. And I even, to help myself out, because I like to do voices, obviously, I will write a little description of what that person sounded like, so if it's a Cockney accent, or his voice is gravelly and deep, or she has a very cheerful and happy tone. That kind of thing will save your life down the road when you're like, fuck, what was this dude's fucking name? I mean, there'll always be those times though where your player, you'll be like, oh, this random gentleman is that you're buying rope from. They'll be like, what's this guy's deal? And you're like, oh, well, he didn't have a deal, right? Really, but I guess I'll come up with one now. And you come with his deal on the fly. But always try to write those details down. I'm really bad about writing stuff down in sessions, so I really, especially when I'm playing online, I try to record the sessions so that I can just go back and watch and experience it again. But definitely find some way to record those random NPCs that you come up with, because fuck, you never know. You never know who your players will attach to. It could be your Dakari Mudenda, this character that you've written out who's got this intense backstory, or it could be Greg the onion farmer. So anyway, Dakari Mudenda has dark skin, salt and pepper locks. I didn't really write an age, but probably I would say in his later 40s, and a graying beard. His eyes are dark, and they're stern, but he has kind eyes. He's tall, around 6 foot, and very muscular, always seen with his sword at his side. And his voice is deep and quiet, but somehow still resonates within any room that he's in. He's the kind of guy that can say something in a normal tone, and everyone in the room shuts the fuck up. So I wrote a little bit about Dakari's history as well. There are certain things that I kind of have whited out, just keep a little bit of secrets for myself, for if ever, hoping to eventually run games in this setting, so I want to keep some stuff a mystery so that players can stumble across some of these hints and backgrounds naturally in a game. But Dakari grew up in an orphanage. Dakari grew up as an orphan in his hometown. In and out of foster care his whole life, Dakari never knew stability. The orphanage in his hometown was only a few streets away from the Adventurers Guild, and he often saw the wealth adventurers possessed, and it became his goal to become a wealthy adventurer. He began his adventuring career as a young boy by lying about his age to the Adventurers Guild so that he could begin questing. So I'm assuming he kind of grew up in a poor neighborhood or maybe even a poor area where they didn't have access necessarily to like identity and stuff like that. So it would be really easy for him to lie about his age to become an adventurer. And as someone who I didn't really know I was on the lower middle class spectrum, but I was. And I know a lot of people who, when you are poor, it can be really easy to want to fall into that trap of money is the only thing that matters, which fucking it does. It matters a lot, which sucks that it matters a lot, but it's not everything. But for Dakari, coming from an orphan in a poor place, trying to find a way in this world to make his life easier, and you see these adventurers that have these magic items and this fancy armor, and they're just dropping coin and coin and coin. You see them drop so much coin at the tavern, and then they throw a gold coin to a street urchin for some minor information. You're like, damn, these guys are loaded. I want to do that shit. But he starts, but adventuring is not an easy gig. But he does take to it. As someone with a lot of anger and rage, young Mudenda bounced around with different adventuring parties for several years, often getting kicked out for being overzealous in his desire for violence. One of those guys who's just ready to run in and start dishing out the damage. Maybe to the point where it was becoming a problem. And it wasn't long before he fell in with a group of scabs, which are the ex-adventurers, or the people that didn't make the cut for the Adventurers Guild, kind of form their own parties and take really shady contracts from individuals or organizations, or maybe the Thieves Guild will hire them on, or a representative of a company will hire them on to do some kind of sus quest of some kind. And that's exactly what happened. He toured with them for 2 years as they accepted shady contracts from even shadier individuals and businesses. And it was during one of these contracts that everything changed. They had been given a contract by an individual they had worked with on many occasions, who represented a mining company owned by the Flat Hill Trading Company, which is one of the trading companies that we created in the last Worldbuilding Wednesday. Flat Hill is the one where they had ties to the Carthan Empire, but as the Carthan Empire began to kind of implode on itself, extricated itself from the Empire while still maintaining their trading routes. So they almost did a militaristic takeover of specifically the Empire's old trading routes that they could no longer protect. So like, I kind of imagine a slow, like oh, the Empire can't staff these outposts and these different checkpoints along the roads anymore, or can't maintain their forts. So Flathill slowly begins filling these forts with, instead of Imperial soldiers, mercenaries hired by them, or like, you know, specifically like mercenaries hired on to specifically do that work and slowly take over the Empire's old trade routes and maintain their power as a now kind of freelance trading company. So a mining company that is owned by the Flathill Trading Company had a problem where some creatures had moved into the caves that were owned by this mining company that they were going to be mining mithril, and that these creatures had to be relocated so mining operations could continue. So it's at this point where everything changes for young Mudenda. This is also where we will not particularly say what happens, but something goes awry on this mission and changes how Dakari sees adventuring and how he sees the nature of mortals. So after it was all over, Mudenda admitted to the adventurers that he had been one of the scabs, and so many had died because he hadn't been strong enough to stop what had occurred. Excuse me. He is surprised that instead of like reprimanding him and maybe blacklisting him, the adventurers accept him into their party and teach him. And that's how Dakari Mudenda became a real adventurer. And also how he met Mara Sinclair, his devoted secretary / right hand. So yeah, that's all that I have written about Dakari so far. I wanted to have more done, but I just got so busy this week, so I did not have a chance to write more. But this is definitely a character who is going to be pretty important and integral to Adventurers Guild storylines. So this is like when my cousin and all my friends from high school and did our little one-shot, I gave them basically the option. They all were coming to Respite to become adventurers, and the first person that they met was Dakari Mudenda, and he was the one who presented them two options. Like, basically, he got all of their requests, their requests to be adventurers, put this party together based on his instincts, just as someone who's been doing this for a long time, and gave them two options of quests that they could complete as their sort of like a test or like a provisional job they had to complete before becoming full adventurers, and where they could then either stay as a party if they wanted to, or they could go and create their own party amongst other like freelancing adventurers throughout the Adventurers Guild. And so he presented them with two quests. One was taking a magical artifact from the wizard shop, the magic shop's wizard, Quillum, taking one of his magical artifacts to the primal plane, which is the primal pass, which houses like sort of prime or elemental plane energies, taking this device to measure the border between the primal pass and the elemental planes and how they interacted with the prime material plane. where they would have to go and essentially set up this device, allow it to take its measurements and protect the device and make sure nothing happens to it. Whereas the other quest was from the owner of Barney's Botanicals, Barney Betroven, was looking for adventurers to take an order of 12 crescent rolls from the Heaven Sent Bakery up into the Verdant Pass, which is the Feywild Pass, where it's very closely tied to the Feywild, and take the crescent rolls to a group of pixies to trade for a specific kind of flower that was used to make potions of etherealness. And it's like an ongoing deal that he's had with these pixies for a while, but needs a group of adventurers to go up with the bag of crescent rolls and negotiate with the pixies on his behalf. And so Dakaria was the one who presented these two ideas to the adventurers, and they ended up picking the Feywild one. It ended up being quite fun. Just love the idea of like this tense negotiation with a little tiny person with wings. It's like a giant crescent roll the size of their entire body. Take a little sip of my coffee. I sort of had hoped to have had more prepared. I wanted to do a full hour. I don't know if we're gonna go for the full hour this time, mostly because my schedule got kind of fucked up this time, and normally I would have had today off and be able to have had more time to prepare and more stuff to talk about. But I have to work in like 2.5 hours or so. So normally I would have had all day to prepare and would have had more stuff going on. But, I think that's okay. I just wanted to, keep the promise that I had for streaming, even if it was only a little bit. Next time we'll have more prepared. So, what's going on this week? Let me pull up the schedule, actually. This might be a good little review for me, too. Where the fuck is it? Might be in my downloads. There it is. So, scratch do a little half check mark of Worldbuilding Wednesday. But tomorrow I'm going to be uploading the highlight reel, compilation video of all of the Baldur's Gate drinking stream. So that'll be uploaded tomorrow, and then Friday, Saturday, we're gonna do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm gonna try to have 3 videos, 3 last draft videos this week. And then on Saturday we're going to be doing our. So my days got switched, so I have off on Saturday instead of Wednesday. So Saturday we're gonna be doing a longer Skyrim reincarnated stream. Try to level up my character without him dying and having to move on to the next character. We'll see if that actually happens. I have a feeling like I'm gonna die a bunch again and gonna have to get better at Skyrim. And then on Sunday we have another last draft video. I think next week probably I have to look at my schedule again, but probably maybe on Monday I will be doing another drinking game, another Baldur's Gate drinking game, but I will figure that out. I have to look at my schedule, and I'll post another schedule for the coming week soon. So thanks for watching, y'all. Appreciate you coming in for this very short stream. Next week we'll have something a little longer prepared for all of y'all, and thanks for watching. If you want to stay tuned, keep information. I'm gonna try that again for the recording. If you want to stay updated with the latest information, you can check the description. It has all of our social medias in it. I would say the best way to stay updated is the Discord channel. I post all the links to all the streams and all the videos there. It's where I post the schedule. But I've got Bluesky, Twitter, so go ahead and take a look, and you'll be able to find our shit. But appreciate y'all for watching, and we'll see you in the next quest. Bye.